What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Paul's Best Podcast, the podcast where we talk about nothing but the best. If you're looking for negative shit, mediocrity, go somewhere else. If you want to listen to something nice, relaxed, and positive, you are in the right place. And I have another amazing show and guest for you this week. I'm so happy that you're here, dude. I got really excited.
Happy to be here, thanks.
I got really excited. My guest today is Top Chef Tom Colicchio.
Thanks for having me.
And you could check out Top Chef right now, 9:30 on Bravo, every Monday night, and the next day on Peacock, which is great. That show's cooking right now, yeah?
It is cooking. I like that. That's
cooking,
good.
yeah.
It's good.
I didn't even mean to, by the way, I didn't even mean that.
I know you didn't, because usually when you say something like that, you look for a response, and you weren't even looking.
No, because you know what? I have a 16-year-old son and a 13-year-old daughter, and like cooking is like the thing now. If a player's doing good, or if if like the Knicks are doing good, Jalen Brunson's having a good game. Jalen Brunson's cooking right now. Let him cook. Yeah. But the show it worked out.
Yeah, I did a whole Super Bowl thing, or no, a Thursday night football thing, and one of this running back from some teams cook, and it was like my line was "Let him cook."
Let him cook.
Let him cook.
That's a great one.
Yeah, it's good.
That's a great one for what you do. I saw something in an interview that you did. And I thought it was really interesting because I have a theory on this. But you said in an interview that your high school yearbook, you said you were going to be a chef. And I always in high school would joke with friends, and they would go, "Man, you're funny and good at telling stories. Maybe we should go to New York City and get you an agent." I thought that's what you could do. I thought because I was a funny kid in high school.
Well, once you go through the tunnel, like where'd you grow up, in Jersey?
Yeah, Westchester.
Westchester.
Yeah,
Okay.
Westchester.
So you come over the bridge and you get an agent. Just like that.
I remember being like a junior in high school and they're going, "You know what, Paul, we're just going to go down to New York City, go to an agent's office and tell them how funny you are. And then that's going to be it," like thinking that was it. But I do have a theory on this because you're not the first person that has gotten success in what you said you were going to do younger. I think when you're younger, right, and you kind of have an idea and a passion early, I think that's a good thing. I mean, listen, some people have been successful when they kind of are wishy-washy and all of a sudden at 25 they figure it out. But I think knowing young is a big thing.
Yeah, for me, I kind of got lucky. And I didn't really examine this until recently. I wrote a book, came out about a year and a half ago, called Why I Cook. And it was part memoir, part cookbook. And during the pandemic, when I was restaurants were closed and I was home, I started doing a lot of cooking demos for corporate clients. And it was like over Zoom, and it was like 100 people, and I would do about 20 minutes of cooking and about 40 minutes of Q&A. And the question always came up, why do you cook? And so I really, at first I started giving like some bullshit answers.
Sure.
And I really started thinking about it. And when I was young, most likely I would have been diagnosed with ADHD. My children are all clinically diagnosed. I see the same issues. And I went from being a really smart kid to like third or fourth grade, I just couldn't make heads or tails out of anything. That's when it kicked in. And so there was part of me that I found comfort in cooking. It became very easy to me. Following recipes were hard, and I got around that. But the other thing that I was really good at when I was young, I was a swimmer. I was a competitive swimmer.
Okay.
And I didn't lose a race from the age of like 9 to 13. And then at 13, also around the same time the ADHD kicked, well, maybe a little sooner than that, but I started partying and I didn't practice as hard. And when I got to high school, I started swimming. And all the kids that I beat when I was young, they were beating me in high school. I was pissed off.
Wow.
I was a competitive person. All of a sudden, I'm like, these kids, I'd see them like, and I promised myself, if I found something else I was really good at, I would push it. And cooking was that thing. Yeah.
So that's very interesting because I'm competitive too. We were talking before we were rolling about golf and how like that's competitive with yourself, right?
Yeah, sure.
That's competitive with yourself. So compared to an athlete, if an athlete wanted to, I guess I'm trying to figure out like if you're making a dish, right? And you taste the dish and it's just not there. Are you like, not there meaning like the dish it's good, but it's that you can make it better. And when you taste it, is that like, oh man, I got to get back in and really like, are you thinking about that the way like a track star would be like, I should have done this to get point something less?
No, it's a little different. I see where you're going with that, but it's a little different only because you kind of have to analyze what went wrong. Like when you're an athlete, there's a certain point when you hit an age,
or injury, right?
It's just not going to happen. It's just not, and most golfers, when they get a little older, their swing slows down. They're not going to hit as far.
That's right.
They can maybe still have the same accuracy, but they're not going to hit as far. But no, usually you figure out, like, you can tweak a dish. And it maybe needs a little more acid, so you put a little vinegar or a little lemon juice in it, maybe a little salt. Maybe you put some spices in, like star anise and cinnamon, and they're in the background, but you want to bring them up a little bit, so you can just add a little more. So you can mess with stuff, but you have to know what you have to have a good baseline of technique to understand what you need to do to make the dish the way you want it to. But yeah.
Is there, because, obviously I'm not going to mention names, but there are comedians that can be pretentious, this and that. Is there, like, if you ever tasted a dish, right, and you're like, this is it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
This is perfect. But then another chef tastes the same dish, and they're kind of going, I don't know, but you know that it's right. They do it to be like, to me it needs to be. Is there that? Does that go on?
Well, here's the thing. When I go out to eat, I just eat. I don't judge food. On the show, there's 4 of us usually judging, and they have different opinions.
Yeah.
But they're doing it because listen, food is very subjective.
Yes.
Eating is very subjective, and so they may just have a different take on what they're eating. But then, and this is why the show works, because when we do have a disagreement, we talk it out. We actually discuss it because we know that the audience can't taste the food. So the only way they can experience it is through our conversation. So you have to have an honest conversation about what you're tasting,
sure,
why you're tasting it,
yep,
and then we can bring it to life. But no, I mean, that's, I know what you mean, but it's a little different cooking. It's very easy to go up there as a comedian, someone kills it and you're just like, nah, it wasn't that good.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know all these comedians, they go underground somewhere to do their skit because they're afraid people are going to rip them off.
Well, sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, especially if somebody in the room that's known for that.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, there's stories of that where somebody sees somebody walk in and they go, oh, he's here? I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I have friends, like there's a Michelin star restaurant, French, up where I live. And, I love it. It's incredible. And what I found with food, and you tell me, but I think some of the most simple things with the least ingredients in it are the best. They have one thing there that it drove me nuts to the point where it's impossible for me to go to this restaurant and not get this. And what it is it's little strips of toast with a little line of butter, and on top of it is a Spanish anchovy.
Oh, great.
And it is...
That's a classic dish, by the way. It's a classic Spanish top of this. Yeah.
It is so delicious and perfect, and just the way the bread hits.
But what makes that good?
Yes.
It's good bread, it's great butter, and it's a great anchovy. It's not some really bad tin thing that is all rolled up, and
the color's
it's a
different.
Good anchovy.
The good anchovy, but with the toast, the way they make it, it's perfect. And you always get a friend. I don't think it's that good. You're always going like, okay, you're one of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. More for me.
So this, I think you'll get a kick out of this, and I'm so thrilled that you're here because you're an animal at what you do, in a good way. I mean, yeah. Sorry, that's going back to the cooking thing, but. No, so I have the pickiest wife in the world for food, to the point where when we were dating, she would only get, because she knew her problem, she got it from her grandmother, she has it from her family. So the only thing she could get is she would get pasta because she knows she wouldn't be in pain, she knew she would, but she looks at veins, she looks at everything. And now my son, I have a 16-year-old boy and a 13-year-old daughter. My 13-year-old daughter is very much like me I'm Mediterranean, I'm Sicilian and Greek.
Okay.
My daughter's like that. She looks like that, she eats anything. My son is more like my wife, who's Scandinavian, very picky eater. He doesn't touch cheese, which drives me nuts. He doesn't touch it at all, which I can't. But then he'll go sushi, and the other day we were in Miami, and he said, Dad, can we go to Nobu? And we went to Nobu in Miami Beach, and it blew us away. It was incredible. It really is amazing the way some sushi is just so different and better.
Oh yeah. A lot of it has to do with the freshness. It has to do with the way the experience the chef has. But it's all, if you're doing sushi and nigiri sushi, it's all about the rice, and the rice is so important. And usually we think it's rice. No, it's when it's good, it's great. Yeah. So
the rice is just as important, you're saying, as the freshness of the fish.
Yeah. Most, I'll be honest with you, most sushi fish is frozen.
Is that right?
And it's actually okay, but the Japanese, they have a different way of freezing. It's at much colder temperatures.
Okay.
And then when it's defrosted, there's special paper it's wrapped in. It's defrosted really, really slowly.
Okay, so it doesn't compromise the quality.
No, it's actually in some cases better. But especially a lot of the Japanese fish, if you're in New York and you go to a sushi bar, there's a lot of the Japanese fish, it's not from these waters. So shipping it not frozen, not good.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not a bad thing. But I have 3 children. I have a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 32-year-old. My 15-year-old doesn't eat. He doesn't eat. And the thing is, he likes raw fish, but he doesn't. He's just really picky. But I think it's more of a texture thing.
Okay.
Yeah. But lately it's getting better. He's finally turning the corner.
Yep.
When he was young, we used to fight with him.
Yeah.
And then we stopped.
Yep.
And we just, every dinner, he would always eat raw peppers, yogurt, and I don't know. He would, he eats pizza.
Yeah.
but he won't eat pasta.
Wow.
I'm like, it's flour and water and tomato. It's the same thing. And cheese. It's the same thing. No.
Yeah.
But he's getting better.
It's funny that like, and he's your son.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're not going to eat that.
We just came back from Vietnam, and on the way we were like, what is he going to eat? He's going to be picky, but he ate. He did okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was good.
How's the food there? Incredible.
Some of it's very good, but really cheap.
Yeah.
Like you street food.
Yeah.
You get bowl of noodles. You get some grilled skewers. You get a bunch of stuff. Beer. $40.
Yeah.
Dongs. It's like 500,000 dong is like $18.
Oh my God. Wow. Yeah, I heard my wife likes Thai food. She likes Vietnamese food. We went to Greece, and somebody said Greece will go toe to toe with Italy in food.
Greece is great, yeah.
And it was we were there for 10 days, and I had some dishes that blew me away. Actually, I didn't have a bad meal in Greece.
I haven't been in a while, but I was there when they had the Olympics there. And I was there before that, and very simple, good food. Yeah. And also, I grew up in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and right down the street from us was a Greek cultural center. And so they would have these big cookouts, especially in the summer.
Yeah.
And you'd always smell the sardines, grilled sardines, and lamb.
I was going to say lamb. Did they have the lamb on the?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
The whole neighborhood would just like you smell it, and then we would sneak in and get the sardines.
The best part of when we went to Greece and we ate the Greek salad was there's no lettuce. So now after that, my wife is like, we're never, because we used to think it was lettuce.
It's funny, that same salad in Israel is an Israeli salad.
Is that right?
Exact same salad.
So because I was like, where's the? They go, no, but it's delicious.
Yeah, but it's all really good, simple food. Which most, when you go to Europe, unless you're going to very fancy 3-star restaurants, a lot of the food is very simple.
Yeah.
But the ingredients are all really good.
Yeah. You're right. I guess the ingredients at the end of the day is what makes it.
Yeah.
I was on this show with a funny comedian and a friend, and he opens for me all over the country.
Was he funny?
Tyler Horvath. Yeah, funny comedian, good. And we did best cuisines. And after we talked about it for a long time, we both ended up our 1 and 2s. I think my 1 and 2 was. I said Italian 1, and then I said Japanese 2. Yeah. Because Japanese, I both give you so many options. With the fish, and it's just, and pizza. It's hard to.
There's great pizza in Tokyo too.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I actually saw something online that said, don't think you can't, it's just sushi and stuff, go get pizza.
No, because what they do, there's great French food there too. I mean, going back to like the 80s, a lot of the Japanese chefs came to France to study. And then chefs like Paul Bocuse is, very well known, he's dead now, but very well known chef. He actually had schools in Tokyo.
Yeah.
And so you can get great French food there. There's, in fact, this famous pizza chef from Tokyo was in New York a couple weeks ago and did a pop-up in a restaurant. It was good.
You popped in there?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. The great thing about Tokyo, I've been twice. Yeah, you can get great sushi, but just the everyday bowl of noodles, a bowl of udon is just so good because they care so much about it. If you are a chef, you focus on one thing. If you're a Japanese chef, you don't do everything.
Sure.
If you're a sushi chef, that's what you do.
Yeah.
If you do noodles, you do soba noodles, that's all you do.
Yep.
And when you go to a great soba place, it's special.
I saw this thing online about Tokyo, and I really have to go. They showed me the burger place, all these different things. I heard their egg salad sandwich is incredible.
Yeah. They're really.
I heard they're incredible.
Yeah, they're special. Yeah. I cooked there twice. I was a guest chef at the Park Hyatt Hotel. Back in probably the 90s and then mid 90s and then early 200s.
Wow.
2000s. It was a great gig.
That's awesome.
You send the recipes. Typically, I don't do that. I'll go with my team.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, we'll send them. And so we get to the kitchen, and all of the cooks had to present not the dish, but the piece of the dish that they were doing. Because if you look at a dish, maybe there's 5 components on a dish.
Okay.
Right? And so one little thing that they were doing.
Yeah.
So if I were doing these tomato petals, and dry them, they present that.
Wow.
And it was just fascinating.
That's
you go there
wild.
and they come, they give it to you, you say yes, and they walk out. And then you get there at night, and I brought my team. And we get in the kitchen, they're like, you guys won't have to do anything. And I was like, yeah, sure. We get there, and everything was just dialed in.
Oh, man.
It was great. And then the best thing, the chef of the hotel was from New Zealand, and I don't think this guy gets out much. And because he was allowed to entertain us, it was wild. Every night. We'd leave the restaurant at 8 o'clock. We'd go, there was a great cocktail bar on one of the top floors. We'd go there. And when I say great cocktail, they were like shaving ice to order, and it was just fantastic. And then we go and hit a sushi bar, and then we go to cooked restaurant gets food, and then we go to these crazy clubs, and then 3 o'clock in the morning we were at Skiji in the fish market looking at fish.
God.
It was wild.
Wow, you got energy like that, huh?
Well, back then, it was a while ago. But it was funny because they paid me like 10 grand to do this, right?
Yeah.
And in yen. And I told my team, our goal is to leave here with no money.
Do you doing what you do? Does your sons are they ever take the girl over and be like, my dad's cooking for us? You ever get that?
My 14-year-old and 16-year-old, they don't have girlfriends yet.
Okay, yeah.
My older son, not really. But they know, their friends ask them.
Yeah.
But they just
hey, dude,
Dad.
you think your dad could
That's just
whip
Dad.
something up for us?
It's funny. So my son came to me the day before, 2 days before Thanksgiving, and said, I want to do a Friendsgiving at the house the day before. I was like, okay. He goes, we'll cook everything. I'm like, okay. So I'm home. And I was planning on I was going to go to work, and I'm home, and all of a sudden they show up with all the stuff, and they start unpacking it.
Yeah.
And they're all like, "Oh, we're going to make this," and I look at the turkey, and I'm like, "Guys, what is this?" They bought a thing of deli meat. And I was like, "Guys, what is it?" And they said, "Yeah, we kind of were wondering where the legs were."
So sliced turkey.
So then they started looking at. I said, "Guys, stop. Just listen to me." And I sat there and said, you do this, you do this, you do this. And they were making pies and stuff. And it actually came out, it was good.
Really?
I sent them to the store to get another turkey.
I was going to say.
I was like, you get another turkey. And I scotched it, opened it up so it cooked faster. And, but it was good. It was good. So
do you make the turkey dinner for Thanksgiving at your house? Yeah. Are you one of those where when you're doing stuff at home, it's like, get out of here, I'm doing it?
No.
Okay.
No, my wife wants no part of it. She sets a great table, makes sure everything else is there. I mean, a really great table, but no, she wants no part of it. I do it myself. My Christmas Eve, we do a big Christmas Eve dinner, and if I'm doing it at my house, my son comes over and helps. My older son, he likes to help.
Christmas Eve for us is bigger.
Yeah.
Then it's the biggest.
Yeah.
Christmas
Eve.
Eve.
We do the 7 fishes. We do like 13 or 14 fishes and 16 fishes.
A question that I had for you, Tom, is because I don't know. I know that this is in a lot of businesses or in professions. You see this. You ever have a chef come, like young chef, that's competing, and they're not quite there, but you know that you see the potential where you could be. Will you call that person aside and go, or is it just something that they got to figure out on their own?
Not on the show, but in my restaurants, I have. Like you'll get a young chef and they're not getting it and they're getting frustrated, and you could see. Sometimes you see something, and it's always like sometimes somebody has good hands, like they have a good feel for it.
Okay.
And maybe technically they don't know enough yet, but they have good hand. They have a good feel. You can see they have a good feel for it, and that's the kind of person you want to say, just stick with it.
Right.
And you work with them, and you try to get them there. But you could see it. I mean, there was this one kid this is way back, I had a restaurant called Mondrian, and this kid showed up, and it was funny because he was an artist. He did graffiti. He was a graffiti artist, and he would do the big subways, like back when they were tagging subways, but not tagging, like beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
And he showed me some of his work, and you saw this kid. He had those hands. Anything he touched, when he was plating food, it just all looked beautiful. And this kid, he had potential, and he also had a drug problem. And we lost him. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, but he was one of those guys. You could see it. It was there.
He just had it.
Yeah.
So it's like that, where you could just watch somebody and go, "This person has it." That you could see certain things.
Yeah.
Because that kind of sparked my interest when you said their hands, meaning that when they're just the way they're working and the way they're plating, they just kind of get it.
They just get it. Also, when you watch, there's a great New York chef named Marco Canora, and when I hired him when I was at Gramercy, he had a thin resume, and he showed up. He just drove cross country on his motorcycle. He had hair down to his ass, but you listen to him talk about food. He grew up in a family that was obsessed with food. His mother was Italian, and from Italy, from Tuscany. And when he talked about food, you knew he really cared about it. And so it's like, I'll take that every day over some kid graduated culinary school who thinks they know what they're doing.
Yeah, up in Hyde Park.
Yeah. I mean, they put out good students, but a lot of the students that come out, they think they're chefs.
Yeah,
they're not. When you graduate law school, you're not a lawyer.
Right. Well, you need some experience.
You graduate medical school, you're not a doctor.
Right. You need you
do residency.
You have surgeries.
You do stuff.
Okay.
And so these kids, they come out, they think they're chefs. And it's like, no, man, you spent a week doing Italian food. You think you can make pasta? Like, no, you can't. Just get up. But you gotta have the right. But you just got a sense, just listening to him talk about food, that he was going to be a great chef, and he is.
Yeah, you know, my palate's changing as I get older, and I'm sure that obviously happens. But now, like, I used to eat pasta and be like, it's pasta. You know, let's get some nice red sauce and some grated cheese. Now I'm like, if it's not al dente enough, I'm like, this isn't.
Well, once you have something that's good, it's like, okay.
You get it.
Yeah.
Like,
especially once you go, you go to Italy and eat, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And some places, not everything. Some places are terrible. But
I've been blown away. I've had my mind blown when somebody makes eggs a certain way.
Yeah.
Eggs can be an egg can be nuts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a whole other world of eggs.
Then go get a good egg from a good chicken.
Oh yeah.
Then it's different. Then it's really different.
And, me and I was joked with my buddy. We're like, over medium, you got to care a little bit. Like, you got to care a little bit.
A little bit more.
I was actually that was actually Bill Burr. Bill Burr took me under his wing. So that's when I said to you, like, if you see a chef. But I remember, I went over to Bill's house. I stayed with him in L.A., me and my wife, and he goes, Virzi, I know you love over medium. I'm going to wake up and make it for you. And he goes, for over medium, you got to care just a little. Because over medium, if it's done right, to me, it's the slow ooze. Slow ooze, right?
Well, I love when you do the hard-boiled egg, but it's a jammy one.
Oh, okay.
Where it's not cooked all the way through. But you do it slowly and it gets like jam.
And the poach, you got to spin, right?
Poached egg, well, there's a couple things you can do. You crack the egg into a bowl and put a little vinegar in it and let it sit for 10 minutes, it'll start to come together.
10 minutes,
and then you poach it. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right.
And then but usually the whole idea behind the vortex, and if you do that, you don't have to use do the vortex. The whole idea is once you put it in, if it's spinning, the egg whites will come around each other and they won't scatter out. Right?
Okay.
But if you do the vinegar thing, when you put it in, it doesn't move. It's there, it already has like a little skin over the top of it because the vinegar will cook it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Wow.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't know that.
It's a good trick.
Yeah, no, that's a great one. I'm sure you got asked this a lot. Did you watch The Bear? Did you like The Bear?
I watched the first 2 seasons, and then it kind of went sideways.
Okay, yeah. Is it that intense in kitchens like that? Or is that an exaggerated version? Or a little bit of both, maybe?
It's a little bit over the top. Every kitchen's different. A lot of that came from Thomas Keller's kitchen because one of the writers on the show or one of the producers or something worked there.
Oh,
so
okay.
Calling everybody chef, that doesn't happen in my kitchen. They call me Tom.
I
have a name. I don't like being called chef. Some people still insist, but
so they don't say yes, chef.
Certainly not everybody in the kitchen is chef. They're all cooks. Yeah. And so some of it is a little over the top. The intensity, the first season, the intensity of the tickets when those tickets were coming out, that happens. That was real.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I've lived that.
Where they just keep coming out and they're just not.
There are times when the waiters are punching orders in and the computer goes down. Like if one of the terminals go down, you don't know it. It just everything the tickets just back up inside, and then once you put it back online, then they just come out. It's just like But yeah, it was intense. I liked it. It was really good early on. And I thought the performances were fantastic early on when it was going from I'm here to rescue this restaurant, right? But once they started going for Michelin stars,
okay,
everything changed. They stood around the kitchen. 3 of them stood around with tweezers. Like, does it go here? Here? Huh?
Right.
What? And then the backstories. The backstory shouldn't take a full episode to go to do someone's backstory.
Sure.
It was a little much, but that said, I love the show. We get nominated for last 18 years Emmys, and the year they won everything, they were all right in front of us.
That's
right in front
amazing.
of us. Yeah.
So, as a stand-up comic, I've been doing stand-up 26 years, and there were nights where you'd leave and you go, man, I turned a corner. Yeah. And then there was like they always say in stand-up it's the 10-year mark. Yeah. Chris Rock has said everybody kind of says once you get to 10 years. You turn a corner where you're really the funny you off stage, now on stage. Mm-hmm. You are you, the voice is there.
Yeah.
And you drive home and you go, man, a couple years ago I could never do what I did tonight, but now I know. Was there a time when you were cooking where you just went home after a night cooking and you go, oh my God, not only can I do this, I'm really good at this?
Yeah.
In a non-arrogant way.
No, yeah. But it happens a couple different times. Mm-hmm. As you're coming up cooking. Right. Now, I started working in New Jersey, and I worked in a so-so seafood restaurant for the first restaurant, and I worked there for a year and a half, worked all the stations. Then I went to a red sauce Italian place, which was okay. I learned to butcher there, which was great, but it was pretty easy. And then I got to another place. And by the time I got to my first restaurant in Manhattan, and I was nervous about coming to Manhattan. I got a job at a restaurant called the Quilted Giraffe. Quilted Giraffe was a 4-star restaurant at the time, just a fantastic restaurant. And I got into that kitchen expecting, like, I'm going to get my ass handed to me here. Like, and I got there and I was hot shit.
Oh, you were doing it?
Yeah, yeah. And because I had worked for a lot of years and I had great knife skills, and besides work, the experience I got in the restaurants, I would cook. I was focused on food. Every night, every day I was cooking at home. If I wasn't, I didn't work in a restaurant making terrines and stuff like that. I'd go home and make them. I'd make fresh pasta at home. The first time I made fresh pasta wasn't in a restaurant; it was home.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
by the time I got to this restaurant, I was good. And again, I didn't know it until I got there, started working. I was like, oh wow, okay. And you walk out feeling good, like I'm working in one of the best restaurants in the city, and I'm holding my own here. This is good. And then it happens a couple other times. I worked for Thomas Keller. He had a restaurant in New York called Raquel. Same thing there. Like I knew I handle myself.
Italian place?
No. He has the French Laundry in Per Se now.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, but so I knew I was Now when I was a chef, and it's different. When you're a cook, it's one thing. When you're a chef and running a restaurant, that's something else. But when I opened Gramercy Tavern in '96, I think it was '94. The restaurant was a bigger restaurant than the restaurant that I had before, called Mondrian, and I got 3 New York Times stars in Mondrian when I was 26. And so now I'm at this new restaurant. I'm owner. And the restaurant was bigger, and I dumbed the food down. And we got a 2-star review when we opened up, and I really thought we deserved 1. I was like,
wow.
I wasn't, and then finally I went to my partner, Danny Meyer, who, is a very famous restaurateur. And I said to him, we got to change something here. We're doing too much business. I said, I want to slow it down. So instead of doing 200 covers a night, we should be doing like 140, 150. He goes, but that's crazy. And I said, no, the check average will go up. I could do better food. Oh. We can sell more wine because the waiters won't be churning and burning. They could spend more time at the table.
Wow.
And we agreed on it. And the
quality,
reviewer, Ruth Reichel, who reviewed us and gave us 2 stars. New York Times almost never comes in a year later and re-reviews you. She came in and she had, afterwards, she told me this, she came in because a friend wanted to go there. She had no intention of reviewing the restaurant, but her friend wanted to go there, so they went there, and she said the second she walked in, she noticed something was different. And then she said, and I started getting the food, and it was completely changed.
Wow.
So at that point, I started feeling, okay, I have now, not only am I cooking with a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
I love what I'm doing. I have a great team, but my instincts was right. My instincts were right.
Yeah, your business instincts, and that was because you were like, the quality is going to be better.
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing.
So that's when I knew. I was like, all right, now I can, and it's a great restaurant, still a great restaurant, and I was like, all right.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's such a great story.
And then I spent time in France, and I get to France, and I was like, I'm holding my own here too. Like
you're good at this.
Yeah, I'm good at this. Yeah.
I'm good at this.
But yeah, I know. You get to you doubt yourself, and you get to a point. And it's like, but you have a good night now. You walk out of the kitchen. Wow, we had a good night tonight. Everything was clicking.
Yeah.
Your bed night, man, it's tough.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you have a tough night bombing up there. It's tough.
It used to bother me for like days.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, now it's like it's so kind of routine that it's like, hey, it's a day at the office, I'm going in. But the one thing, Kobe Bryant, rest his soul, he said it. He goes, confidence is really just based on preparation.
Sure.
And that's really it. Like when your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted and you go into something, it's like my favorite. I say it a million times. People are probably sick of it, but it's John Wooden's quote: "Is failure to prepare is preparing to fail."
Yeah.
I think it's the best quote in the world because it just goes with life and it's everything.
Yeah, my son plays volleyball. He played yesterday, and his team they're okay. And they're playing against a team that was really bad, and they took him to 5 sets, and it was just, he was so down. And I told him, I said, you got kids who are trying to spike the ball who can't get over the net. And I said, you got to tell them, like, if you were playing basketball and you couldn't dunk, would you try to dunk?
Correct.
In the middle of the game, you're going to try to dunk. You're going to be 2 foot short. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I guess so.
That's great. Are you? I'm actually excited. You got me thinking about the Knicks. I'm a big Knick guy. Starts on Saturday. I'm really excited. But look, they haven't won since '73.
Yeah,
I wasn't alive.
It's been a while.
Okay, I wasn't alive when they won, and hopefully, but they finally have a good team.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna do.
I used to watch Towns play high school ball.
Really?
My brother's a high
Oh,
school.
wait a minute.
My brother's a high school basketball coach.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
My son is a really one of the top players in high school, one of the best shooters around in our area. And we're
Westchester?
We're in northern Westchester.
Cool.
And Carl Anthony Towns is from New Jersey, right?
Yeah. One of the best. What's his name? I'm drawing a blank now. Played for North Carolina. He was from Westchester. He was a great shooting guard.
I know who you're talking about. God.
Well, I'm just trying.
Did he go to Stepanak?
Yeah. No.
He didn't go to
Stepanak. No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Maybe he did.
Because I know a couple of big
Yeah,
guards
I think
came
he did,
from
yeah.
Stepanak.
Yeah.
But you know, it's funny because they're saying like what can and will take the Knicks over the top is if Karl Anthony Towns plays well. Because listen, he's 7'1" and he's got to play defense, but he's a big boy. Seems like a nice kid too.
Yeah. I watched him in high school. My brother's he's been at it a long time. He's actually very
Was
good.
that from he was from Elizabeth?
Elizabeth High, yeah.
Oh,
He was
wow.
at Linden High for years, and he won, I think, 6 state championships there, and then he won one in Elizabeth. He transferred over to Elizabeth where we grew up, and I think they won 2 games the previous year, and he won a state championship the year.
He must have been that size in 9th grade, right? Like 10th grade? He was,
he
was
big.
huge.
Yeah.
All right, so what we do on the show is it's great talking to Top Chef here, but we're going to do best of, Paul's best. And we discussed before, what are we going to talk about? And you were telling me something about golf, which I can't believe, but we're going to do the best fishing, fishing,
okay.
boats, fishing experiences. It'll be about fishing.
So let me just preface this by saying I am a fishing fanatic.
All right, like,
And started out when I was. This is also part of the reason why I cook. So, and I talked about this in a book. When I was 6 or 7 years old, I used to go fishing with my grandfather. We used to go down to Barnegat Bay, New Jersey, and we used to do mostly crabbing, some clamming, some fishing, mostly crabbing and clamming. And I had 2 jobs. One was I had to clean all the fish, get all the clams and everything ready for my grandmother and my mother to cook.
okay.
My second job was keep my grandfather awake on the ride home.
Oh, man.
And this was the 70s, so it was like he was a chain smoker. I'm in the front seat. I'm sure I didn't have a seatbelt on. And my job was to sit there and watch him. And he would start nodding out, and I would nudge him, and he'd always say the same thing. I'm not sleeping. I'm just resting my eyes. Oh. We always made it home. and so that started my just lifelong love of fishing. And then when I was about, I did that until I was like 13, 14, and then he got rid of his boat. And then when I was a little older, I started trout fishing, and then I started fly fishing. And then from there, went from trout fishing to fly fishing for bonefish, tarpon, and permit, which is a whole other thing, mostly down in the Keys in the Bahamas.
Okay.
And it's all sight fishing. It's like hunting. You see the fish, and then you cast to it, and it's very active. And so there's that. And then from there, I got a boat and then started going offshore tuna fishing. And that's my absolute passion now.
Okay, so because I was going to ask you, because my buddy, comedian, we do a podcast actually in the studio, Robert Kelly, hilarious. He's a big fly fisher. Okay, he loves fly fishing. Now the tuna has taken is your number one now.
Yeah, and I'll bring a fly rod on a bigger fly rod on a boat offshore too. If there are times you can get them.
Really?
I've caught tuna on a fly, yeah. So best. So if I'm fly fishing for permit, I want to be at the Marquesas, which is west of Key West.
Oh, I always hear Key West is unbelievable fishing.
And the guide I want to fish with is a guy named Simon Becker. He's as good as they get.
Wow.
And that is an absolute treat, but it's hard. I mean, it's the only fish I know exactly how many I've caught in my lifetime.
Okay.
And I haven't been down in a while. I used to go 2 or 3 times a year.
Are they hard to get?
Impossible. I caught 7 my whole life.
What?
If you catch 1 in a day, that's a good day.
Okay.
1. They are.
How big are they?
They can get up to 30, 40 pounds, but on the flats. So you're fishing in very shallow water.
Okay.
And you've got to get the fly right in front of them, but they've got these big eyes, and anything that they see that doesn't look right, they just run. Okay. They're impossible.
Okay.
So that's that. But if I'm fishing for, and this is all fly our trolling, like saltwater fishing for like sailfish. Guatemala is as good as it gets. There's another great lodge called Black Sands in Colombia. I have not been to yet, but a friend of mine, it's his lodge, and I got to get down there. But I see photos and it's amazing. But Guatemala sail fishing is as good as it gets. You can catch 30 a day.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, if I'm tuna fishing, if you're fishing for big fish, right here off New York, out to Long Island.
Long Island Sound?
No, not the Sound. Got to go in the ocean.
Got to go far.
Got to go in the ocean. You got to go far out. But we get an early run of big bluefin tuna, and we get a fall run of big bluefin tuna. When I say big, these are like 100-inch fish. These are 600-pound fish.
Wow.
That you can get on a spinning rod, big spinning rod.
How long are you fighting this thing for?
You can fight them for hours.
Wow.
Yeah. Or you can jig them, and there's also a lot of smaller fish too. But the northeast here, in the summer, you can get wahoo, blue marlin, white marlin. Yellowfin tuna, bluefin tuna, big eye tuna. Big eye's the tuna you want to catch. They're like 200 pounds. They're big fish.
Wow.
All great stuff. So my favorite, so let's talk fishing equipment.
Okay.
Favorite reels, a company called Accurate.
Accurate.
For conventional reels. For spinning, there's nothing better than a Shimano Stella. As good as it gets.
What?
Yep. Favorite boat, by far, Regulator.
Okay.
They're made in North Carolina.
Why that
It's
one?
a center console boat.
Okay.
They are just beautifully made, beautifully finished. I just got my third.
Really?
Yeah. I've had two in my life, and I just got a third. I sold the first two, but they're just beautiful boats. They're beautiful made. And the ride, they're legendary for the ride. It's known as a very soft ride.
Okay.
Just the way it
Just
cuts through the water.
smooth.
Just the way it cuts through the water, smooth.
Yeah.
Just beautiful fit and finish on that boat.
Do you ever go to the Javits Center to the boat shows?
Absolutely.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would imagine since you had 3 of those.
I go to the dog show, and I go. I have a flat-coated retriever that I absolutely love, so we go and look at the flat coats. But I go to the boat show. It's not the only one I go to. Yeah.
So, what's the biggest tuna you ever? Have you ever gotten a monster?
No, not landed. I've hooked some. 200 pounds. Big eyes, 200-pound big eyes, yeah. I had a very big fish hooked a couple years ago, and I fought it for about an hour and a half, and it broke off.
Oh, you take the fish to the restaurant?
That's against the law. Can't do that.
Oh, okay.
Can't do that.
You get like a nice yellow. You can't do it.
You can't do that.
Wow.
No.
Do they do that in Japan?
I don't know what the regulations are in Japan, but here, if you can only kill a fish and sell it if you have a commercial license.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, you have to have a commercial license.
Okay. Because I know I think in Japan they can. I could be wrong, but I think they can get it and take it. But I don't know. There's probably different regulations.
No, there's all regulations. But all the stuff in Japan, you go to the market, the Tsukiji fish market. There's a tuna auction every day.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw them just. Oh my God, it looks so fresh and incredible.
Those guys are also good. They're very good at. A big fish is hard to carve like accurately, and I watch these videos. These guys are great.
Yeah, no, I saw that too. I want to go with my son. Wants to go, like he got really into it, but like he was like my son gets into it like hard with something, and it's like a phase, and he's just like, we were at Dick's Sporting Goods. He goes, get this rod, and then the next week get this rod, and we were getting all these things, and he was watching videos on YouTube, and I think he was showing Colombia.
Yeah.
I think Colombia, it was like big time fishing in Colombia.
Well, all the equipment, the great equipment, it's all Japanese. There's one company, Accurate, they're in California for reels, but all the rods, they're all Japanese. And like, there's big brands that are known like Shimano, but there's other small brands that are just amazing.
And what are we talking price-wise here? If you want to get a good rod to go tuna fishing,
you can't spend $1,000 on a rod.
What, really?
But you don't need to. You can get a decent rod for like $200.
Okay.
And reels can be more. A Stella that I mentioned,
yeah,
they're like $1,000. But they have to be made in such a way to fight a fish that big.
I was going to say, it's got to be frustrating to fight a fish for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and have it snap off.
Well, if you have a lesser reel, even the Shimano reel that's like a Saragossa, which is like their third step down, if you catch a big tuna, you'll burn those gears out immediately. They just fry. These things, they run, they're so strong.
Oh, man.
And you have the drag setting on this. You can get it down to like 40 pounds, which most people can't hold 40 pounds. You got to be in like a harness.
You're strapped in, yeah?
Not a chair, no. We don't do that. We stand up. We do stand up.
Okay.
We do, no, you can. There are people who do it, but we stand up. There's harnesses that you have that you can put a lot of leverage on a fish.
Have you seen great whites out there? Have you seen any sharks?
I've never seen I've seen great whites in Australia. I've been in cage, and great white was.
You went in a cage?
Oh, I did go in a cage.
Oh,
yeah.
no, I can't do that.
It was great.
It
was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You go on these
How
boats.
intense was
You go on
that?
these boats. They put you in a cage, and they take these big hunks of tuna, and they throw down a rope, and then they lure the shark in. Man, it was great.
Oh man, I see too many movies
But
where it went awry.
You see makos, blues, thresher sharks. You'll see occasionally. I only saw it once in my life, a whale shark, which was pretty cool.
That's crazy.
But we see whales everywhere. In fact, that's what we're looking for. You find whales, you find tuna.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because they're feeding on the same thing.
Well, you said something funny before we started. We were talking about golf, and you said that you got to a really good handicap, then you shot in the 70s, and then you were like, I decided to take fishing over this, and that's great.
Yeah, I couldn't. You know what bothers me about golf? It should not take 4 hours to play a round of golf. And if I had to sit behind a 30 handicap throwing grass up in the air to see which way the wind's blowing, it's like, dude, just hit the ball. I love this. You got 4 guys and 2 in a cart. And they all got to go over and watch the one guy hit. And then they all got to go and watch the other guy hit. And it's like, who's away? Who cares? Get to your ball and hit
golf.
it.
Yeah, the worst is when all 4 of them are on the green and they're looking at a 5-foot putt like they're at Augusta.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's like, guys.
Like, there's people behind you.
And if you're at 8, pick it up and put it in your pocket.
Yeah.
Just let's go.
Yeah.
Just go.
I got my stepfather into, I don't want to say my stepfather was a negative guy, but he was just, he didn't have a hobby. And I got him into golf. And now he loves it. He's got friends he plays with. He's like, I can't believe you introduced me to this. Years and years ago. And every time after a bad round or something, he goes, I'm going to fishing. I'm just going to, it's an easier thing. I'm going to go fishing. But fishing is when you catch one, it really does give you a feeling.
It's not that. When you are offshore, like if we go tuna fishing offshore, we're leaving the dock 2 o'clock in the morning. Because you want to be out there first light. And not when the sun comes up, first light.
2 a.m. you're leaving?
Yeah. So you want to get out there. And there's nothing better than watching the sun come up over the water. And you're out there, and there's whales, and it's quiet, and you're out of cell phone service, so the phone's not going to bother you. And I don't even care if I catch a fish.
Yeah.
It's just I want to be in that environment. And
you go with the same people, Tom?
No, I mean, there's a couple of people that I go with. I have a neighbor of mine that I go with, and a very good friend of mine named Kerry Heffernan, who's also a chef in New York, and he's as much of a fishing fanatic as I am. And so I got a couple of people I go with, but usually, I'm always looking for people to go out because I need a crew, and it's like always hard to put one together.
All right, let me ask you this. I know you don't have to give all the secrets. I don't want you to give all the secrets, but we're doing Paul's best here. If somebody is in New York, Westchester, Jersey, Long Island, and they want to go as a novice, right? They want to go with their son, daughter, and they want them to get the experience of catching one. Where would you say the best place for that would be?
One last cast charters, McMurray.
Okay.
That's
One Last Cast Charters.
I think it's One Last Cast, or I should know this. He's a friend of mine. He's
is that Jersey?
No, he's in out of New York actually. Out of like Long Island, but not that far out of the city. But one more cast, I think it is. What is that, Mike?
One more cast charters.
One more cast charters.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. John McMurray he's really good. He's out there a lot. He's a very good captain. If you want to go for a big charter, there's a lot of good charter boat captains out there that can take you. But for tuna fishing, McMurray's really good. If you want to go inshore Montauk and you want to do like striped bass, Paul Dixon, another guy, Brendan McCarthy, really good. But
wow, this guy's telling you the guys to go.
Paul's really good. Paul's an older guy. He's been around a long time. I fish with him a lot. He's a good guy.
So we go so every August, middle of August, we get a house on the ocean in LBI. It's one of my favorite. LBI is one of my favorite places. And I'll be honest.
All right, there's a guy there named Captain Horn.
Captain Horn.
I think he's in Long Beach Island.
Okay, Long Beach Island. Now I'm not a Jersey guy, but LBI to me is like I feel like I'm in another world.
Yeah.
And we went out and I said, let's just go like 4 of us, get our own boat, and we went out for fluke.
Yeah.
And the fish had to be 17 or 18 inches to keep it. And everyone's catching and I'm not catching. And finally, I'm fighting this thing. And I get this giant fluke. They dice it up for me. They do the whole thing. They put it in a baggie. I went back to I swear to God, and listen, I'm by no stretch, I'm a comedian. I'm not a cook or chef or anything. And I said, you know what? Let me do my thing with this. And I have some lemon, simple though.
Yeah,
I went simple because I knew if I went simple, I can't mess it up. So I go lemon, little salt, pepper, did the thing. And it was big enough where everybody could take a bite. It was so fresh and delicious. And I was like, I didn't know fluke can be.
Fluke's great.
But I also didn't know that flounder and fluke are the same. It's just a different season type thing.
They're a little different.
Okay.
A real flounder doesn't have teeth. Fluke have teeth.
Okay, but it's a similar fish.
There's a lot of flatfish. I mean, every halibut's a flatfish. Turbo's a flatfish.
Okay.
Fluke, flounder. There's a lot of.
When you go to a restaurant, what kind of fish? If you eat fish, what would your main?
My favorite local fish is sea bass, black sea bass.
Sea bass. Okay.
Really, really good. Really delicate. Neat. Yeah, it's my favorite local fish. Yeah.
Okay. Now you
Swordfish is good.
You got me. You got me wanting to take my family fishing now.
Oh, it's the best, man. It's the best. I'm so excited about it now because the season's about to start.
Yeah.
And I start watching YouTube fishing videos this time of year.
But now will you go in bad weather? Will you go in not bad weather, but like if it's a little choppy, you'll go?
My boat's fine in the chop, but if it's bad weather, I don't go.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is you don't want to be 80 miles offshore when it gets bad. So you look at the weather.
That's how far you are?
At times, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But I watch the weather. I go when the weather's good. I'm not interested in going out there and getting my ass beat.
No.
And I've done it where you're looking at the weather and it's like, okay, it's supposed to turn around 4. Maybe it's supposed to turn at 2 o'clock. I'll be back before then. And all of a sudden, fishing is good. You stick around it, and you're hurting on the way home. I'm never afraid.
Yeah.
My boat,
Sure.
it's a good boat, and you can just slow down. You get home, but it takes you long. Instead of taking 2 hours to get home, it takes you 4 hours to get home.
Oh man, that's awesome.
But no,
what's the name of the boat you got? What kind of boat?
Regulator.
A regulator.
Yeah.
How many feet?
The one I just got is 35 feet.
Nice.
35 twin 350, triple 350s. Yeah, so it's fast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's nice. Yeah. And this is your third same type of boat?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You're like me with Lexus. I just keep getting Lexuses because it's a smooth ride. It's a smooth ride.
When you like something, you like something.
Yeah, we got to do. I want to do the trout. What'd you say? The trout place, the river.
Well, if you want to go trout fishing, the place to go is the West Branch of the Delaware.
Okay.
And there's some guides up there. But I used to trout fish a lot, and the problem I still try to go out once a year. But when I started trout fishing, there was nobody up there. And then after that stupid movie, River Runs Through It.
I remember.
I mean, then it was every Yahoo in the world wanted to go trout fishing. and that river, especially the West Branch, and especially the main stem of the Delaware, like only about the first mile of the Delaware River, because you have the East Branch and the West Branch form the Delaware.
Yeah.
And you can only trout fish for about a mile.
Okay.
And then it gets too warm. And then you get like smallmouth bass and other stuff. But anyway, you get in the pool, and at nighttime especially, the fish would start rising. You get a hatch, and the bugs would start coming off the water, trout would start coming up, and you get there, and you got to get in position, and you start working over the fish, and all of a sudden some guy comes by in a drift boat and just puts them all down, and it's like, and you're done.
Oh, okay.
You're done.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
Now, what when you're going for the like the big stuff, the big tuna and all that, what bait are you using? What's the best bait?
You're not using bait. Well, you can use bait. That's not true. I don't use a lot of live bait. Here's what you can do. So if you're trolling, you're trolling plastic lures.
Okay. They look like like lures, like
they look like. But there's also
lures,
things called spreader bars where it's a bar that goes across. There's usually like a little thing up front. And maybe some squids that come off the back, and they take up a lot of water. And it looks. And then there's one line down the center that has another lure with a hook on it. Okay. So it looks like a little school.
Okay.
And so you're fishing on my boat. I'll fish, 6 to 7 lines trolling behind the boat. I got a buddy of mine's got a big sport fishing boat, and he'll fish 13 lines. But you're doing that, and maybe you'll have some single lures.
Yeah.
So it all depends on what you're fishing for. That's a tuna spread. If you're fishing for like white marlin, you have. It's a whole different thing. You have, it's really technical. You have these teasers that are floating, and then down below in the water, down about 10 feet, you'll have these dredges that you pull, so it looks like a big bait ball. And then you'll only have four lines in the water that have hooks on them, and you're usually using bait. You're using ballyhoo that you have to rig up.
Okay.
And this is really technical fishing because you have the lines out, the 4 lines, and you'll see the fish. And the fish are usually in the dredge first. So you'll see them. And then you'll pull the dredge, and usually the dredge is attached to an electric motor, and you'll hit that, and pull the dredge to the boat, and then the fish will turn around and find the bait.
Oh, wow.
And then what you do, and the teaser's there too, you got to pull the teaser in, and then it's like a whole bait and switch thing. You get them off of that teaser, and you got to get them onto your ballyhoo, and you'll see them when they see it. They'll come up behind it, all lit up, and then it's real fun because you got to have your reel out of gear, right? And your finger on the spool so it doesn't you don't get a bird nest. You're fishing a conventional gear, not a spinning. And you keep the rod up high, and then as soon as you see the fish starting to eat, you drop the rod down to it, right? Because if the fish feels tension, they'll spit the hook. The white marlin, and they're so fast they'll just spit it immediately. If something's not right, they'll spit it. But if you drop it down, and then you very lightly have your fingers on the spool and starts taking out line.
Give it some,
and you let them go, let them go, let them go,
Yeah.
and then you usually try to count to 5 slowly, and then you put the drag, and then you just reel. You don't set the hook either.
so if they feel a tug, they're out.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
Now, see, what you have to do is you have to get them to get the bait. They actually turn it and swallow it. And once they start swallowing it, and it takes about 5 seconds. And so once they start swallowing it, we fish with circle hooks.
Okay.
So you don't want to set the hook like you normally would. You just point the rod and start reeling. And then
man.
what you want is that hook comes out of its, when it starts to swallow, it comes out of its throat and just catches the corner of its mouth. And it's really technical.
Wow.
That's really fun stuff.
That sound like, I never.
My fishing isn't like sitting there with a rod with a beer. Like,
Yeah, I was
in
just
fact, I
gonna
never
say,
drink.
like-
I don't even drink when I'm offshore.
Yeah, like you're not even sitting on a little, you're not even doing, you're like, this is a
very active.
technical.
Very technical, very active.
And
Yeah.
what's the difference between regular marlin and the white and the
Smaller.
white
A blue marlin's much bigger fish. Black marlin's much bigger. White marlin are small. You don't really see them much over in this area. If you
Do they still have the pointy?
Yeah. If you
Okay.
catch a 70 pounder, that's a big deal.
Okay.
Blue marlin, you'll catch them 350.
People don't eat. Do people eat? People don't eat marlin, right?
No,
it's a trophy fish.
they're a sport fish. You typically want to throw them back.
Yeah.
And you want to, if you catch one, you want to, you spend a little time with it, making sure you drag it behind the boat.
Okay.
Either by the snout or something, just to get the water over its gills, and you want to release them lively, so they can swim away.
For the fishing nuts listening to this, what would you say the best lures? Are? Is there?
There's not a best. So if we're jigging tuna, you can jig tuna too. So those are like metal pieces of metal. They're different colors.
Okay.
And you drop them down to the bottom and then start jigging up.
All right.
So there's a bunch of different brands.
That doesn't matter.
There's a bunch of different brands. Some of them are cut a little different. They do different things.
Yeah.
But spreader bars. There's a company called Chatter Lures that's really good.
Yeah.
And another company called what's the other company?
Well, my son was on this kick,
forgetting.
and I keep buying rods, and I'm like, buddy, I go, you're going to be watching something else on YouTube in 2 months, and then he bought these weights, and he bought lures, and they were, and we went to the ocean at LBI, and they were snapping, so he would get them out, and they would break.
Oh.
So he kept losing weights, and he kept losing lures.
Well, because he's whatever rod he has, the line that's on the reel isn't strong enough.
Yeah.
If you're fishing in the surf, you want to use, at least 20, 30 pound. So what you want to do, you want to put on braided line on the reel.
Okay.
And then you attach the leader, which is typically you want to use fluorocarbon because you can't see it. It's not like regular nylon. And there's knots you have to learn how to use. And so because you can get more on a smaller reel if you're using the braid, it's strong.
Okay.
And so 40-pound braid is really, really tiny. It's really thin, and you can get more line on the reel. And then you only have the mono or the fluorocarbon as a leader. So you only need like maybe 8 feet of that.
Okay.
And but then he won't snap. But he's probably has like 6-pound test or something. He's throwing bigger lures and it's going to break.
Well, what's funny is we were actually walking the beach. Sometimes we walk the beach at night, and somebody caught it. There was a shark like this. There's a shark.
Yeah, there's sharks all over.
Yeah, and
They're all over.
I was like, that's kind of big for how shallow. That's like
no,
right there.
No. They're there all the time.
They're right.
Oh yeah.
They're there when you're boogie boarding, right?
They're there. You don't know it. They're there. I'm a little funny about swimming in the ocean these days because I know it's out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't swim at nighttime.
She's not just picky with food. She'll only go up to the.
We go in the ocean, but I wouldn't swim at night.
Yeah.
But if you see a lot of bait fish jumping, get out of the water because it could be very big bluefish that'll tear you up too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they got sharp fins and very sharp teeth. And if you're out there swimming and all of a sudden you see a bunch of bait flopping around, I would get out. I wouldn't stick around too long.
You haven't seen any mermaids, right?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
All right. I went down that rabbit hole where somebody's like, they look at that, and I'm like, that's AI. But now you don't know what
I don't have the bait for that.
I have a theory about AI. I think AI is out there, so when you do see something crazy, they can just say, that's AI.
So, yeah.
That's a government, there you go. That's the only conspiracy on the show.
Our Secretary of Education says A1.
Tom, dude, so great to have you on. I can't believe you know that much. What must you know about food if you know that much about fishing and boats and lures and weights and all kinds of different things?
Get me going on fly fishing.
You must
I could spend a half an hour because most people have no idea what that. Like, oh, no, that's nothing. It's how to present the fly on the water.
See, that's all I think of when I think of fly fishing. Is this?
No. The whole trick to fly fishing is depending on what cycle the trout are feeding on. because they're feeding on bugs, right? There's little nymphs in the water. They run around the bottom. They can feed on those. When the little nymphs decide to become flies, they float out the bottom and they come up. And as they're coming up, they'll eat them. Now they're on the surface. They break out of their little shell and their wings pop out. The trout will eat them.
What?
Now they're floating on the water, waiting for the wings to dry before they can fly out, and the trout will eat them. And then once they mate, they come back down and land, and the trout will eat them.
Oh my God.
You need to figure out what
Yeah.
the trout's doing. And then you have to put your fly line across the water and
Yeah.
your leader, which is
Yeah.
very, very fine, and now you have your stream.
Yep.
And there's a rock here, and you see a fish feeding here, and you see them because they don't move, they just sit there, and the bugs come like a conveyor belt to the river, right? And they just come and they just lift up because they know that the amount of energy they're going to get out of this little fly, if they move for it, they're expending too much energy for the amount of food they're going to get. So they just sit there.
Okay.
And so, but you've got to get that fly to them right over their nose, and it has to appear that it's not attached to anything.
Wow.
And now you're looking at all these different currents. So if you just put the line straight across, by the time it gets there, it's going to be dragging through the water. They won't touch it.
What?
So you've got to sit there and manipulate the line so you get what's called a drag-free drift. So that fly is just drifting down like it's not attached to anything, and then they'll eat it.
How did you learn this shit? How do you...
Oh, spent a lot of time with it.
I went to Colicchio
And then you got to
making me
know.
food.
And then you got to know whether they're eating caddis flies, whether they're eating mayflies, whether it's a sulfur fly or a blue wing olive or a Hendrix. These are all different flies, and they'll key into certain things.
I've never had somebody be so descriptive of something. I was like, I can't wait to have you get dinner that you make because I know it's going to be
That's
incredible.
all part of it. I almost care more about fishing than I do about food these days. But I shouldn't say that.
No, man, it's awesome. Well, Top Chef, thank you so much for being
sure.
here. I feel like I can have you on again, and you could talk about something else. I never had a guest that informative about things that you don't do. Now I feel like I thought I knew about golf. I can't even talk to you about golf. You probably know more about golf than me.
Golf.
You had your. Is there anything else? Is there anything else other than
It's all
Top
good.
Chef?
It's all good.
Top Chef right now, 9:30, guys. Monday nights on Bravo, and then the next day on Peacock. This guy is the absolute best. Tom, thank you so much for being
you.
here,
Thanks for having me.
and hope to see you again.
Cool.
All right, that's it.